Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome folks, Day the Hungry Gamer is back with another episode of Deluxe, where we talk about things that upgrade your gaming experience. And we are talking about two things here today, but mostly we're going to be talking about the Pathfinder NPC Core Pawn Box. And then secondarily, we are talking about this lovely game mat from Game Toppers, which is, well, I will tell you later if I think it's a good version, but it is a dungeon battle mat because these squares here are basically 1-inch squares. And you see just up in the corner there, a dragon. And I actually have another episode that I will link down in the description, kind of talking about some of the other things that you can see on this. But there's a cool little monster busting out from underneath over there, and there's some buildings kind of down here and all that. But mostly we are going to be talking about these pawn sets here. And thank you to Paizo for sending me a copy. So what you're going to get in here is you're going to get a big ol' honkin' stack of standees. And what I will say is I actually really appreciate on the back here, it's telling you exactly what you get in small, medium, and large sizes, plus troops. And I'll show you these troops in a little bit. Like, that is great that I know exactly what I have. Now, you'll notice that everything here is still in the punch board. And that's because, well, some things are out because I actually have some things out that I'm actually using for a prototype of a game that I'm working on. But the thing here is, all of these, they're so well organized as they are. I actually, when I take them out, I actually have been sliding them kind of back in. So that is actually why they're still in the thing here. Not because I haven't played with them, but because they're really well organized. But let's talk about what you get. So you're going to get a whole bunch of troops, large critters, though not a ton of large critters, normal sized critters, and small critters. And so these troops are things that are going to wind up being 2x2s. So for example, this City Guard Squadron here, you'll notice, you just drop right into the standee it brings with it. And I will say these standee bases are good because they do not damage your stuff at all. I also want to point out that each one has a little colored bit down the bottom, as well as a number. One that tells you what it is related to the back of the box, but the colors here are really good because if you're trying to track damage, that's a way that you can do it. Just tracking, oh, red has this much damage. But you'll notice that they fit perfectly in the 4x4 square. And then while I'm at it, I will just show you very quickly a couple of the medium size. We got a pirate and a plague doctor. The plague doctor is actually one of my favorite pieces of art. And you'll notice they are going to fit perfectly in a single 1-inch square, like so. Then of course you have just some large single characters like this warhorse here, which again is just going to fit right perfectly in a 2x2. And then the last one, we have our small characters, which are still going to fit in a basic 1x1, but as you can see, when you look at them, they are clearly small critters. Now, that's kind of the core of the video here. However, what I do want to do is take a moment and just show you how many different things there are here. And what you're going to notice as you look through, you'll kind of see that I've made notes of kind of what I've already pulled out prior to this. In fact, I'm just going to put this camoufleur right back in here before I forget. But what you're going to see is there is so much stuff. You have NPCs that are just particularly interesting for your story. Like I mentioned, the plague doctor. You have a ton of these troops, and these troops I think really make it. The ability to kind of represent, big ass group of goblins or a bunch of halflings or elf woodland scouts or whatever. I think that is really, really clever and something that I think is really valuable to people doing RPGs or whatnot. I'm actually using them and some stuff that I'm kind of playing around with. There's a whole bunch of really neat stuff here. What am I doing? I should turn this way so we can see it a little bit better. And so really all I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of flipping through this so you can see how much stuff there is. Now, at the same time, I'll point out that it has good, solid fantasy art here. It's just the type of stuff that I'm talking about. And I'll talk in a bit about what my kind of detractors are to this, but overall, it's just good, solid art. I like it. It looks good. And I'll also point out that what you get here is for good or ill. It is single-sided. So you have the same image on both sides. So if you are looking to do something that has facing, then you're actually going to have to go ahead and put some kind of mark on your standee. I'll continue flipping through. The things I have already pulled out because I'm using, well, I actually don't have access to those to really show you, but hopefully you get the idea of all the different stuff that there is here in this set. So as I'm getting to the last one, so I've already talked about, I think the variety here is great. I think the organization is really good. And obviously, I like the organization so much, I keep putting things right back in. I think the standees are very good. So often you get standee bases that actually do damage to the things you're putting into them. These don't do that. And the variety, as I said, is really, really good. I have gotten a ton of use about these, and I have not even played an RPG game since I got them, and I'll get even more use out of them then. I'm thinking of using these in some dungeon crawls I have. Dungeon Universalis comes to mind, and just so many things I'm going to be able to use these with. I'm very, very high on this. So what are my quibbles with this set? Well, the first one I already alluded to, and that is you don't have a backside to the things. Now, I have not played Pathfinder 2.0. I played a lot of Pathfinder, the original, and facing mattered, and so you don't have that with this. It's an easy fix, as you just put a mark on the standee base, but to me that's a little bit of a miss, and I always think standees that have backsides are really, really cool. The next thing I'm going to say is, and this is perhaps a little bit unfair because this is very clearly an NPC box, but I do really wish that in this box there were some heroic looking characters that you could use if this was what you just wanted to get. Now maybe there is a NPC hero pack that Pathfinder offers, that Paizo offers, and if there is, Paizo, let me know. I will cover it because these things are great. But that is a little bit disappointing to me. And so that's going to bring me back to the other thing that I'm going to talk about a little bit, and that is just this mat. This mat is great. It looks really good. I've used it in a couple of my videos, and you can't see the corners. The corners and sides are just things that make it look really good, but I love this board. This is something that I've been using as I've been playing a game called Relic Blade, so I can kind of measure what I'm doing. Anything that has inch movement, this is just perfect. And yeah, it's not perfect, but it's perfect enough that you're able to figure out what's going on. So I love this mat here from Game Toppers. But there you have it, folks. That is the Paizo Pathfinder NPC Core Box, along with the Game Toppers Dungeon Adventure Mat. Really big fans of both of these. And I actually thought when I got this NPC Pawn box that I might give away to some of my RPG GM types. And no, they can't have it because I really like it that much. But there you have it, folks. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.